What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Crazy for KVs. I'm Tim. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. So we got a update. We're due on Project Clydesdale. Our pulling truck, Bronco, tug of war machine, whatever you want to call it. Got word that there might be a tug of war / pulling competition coming to my area. And I know there's going to be one in southern Georgia in March, so definitely kind of push me to finish this thing up, or at least get it much closer to being competitive. It may just take me going to one, figuring out where I'm at and where I need to improve. But as you can see, this thing is huge. It's very cumbersome. It's getting pretty heavy. But I'm going to go ahead and move it. We're going to talk about what I've done since the last video. And yeah, we'll just get it out of the way so you guys can actually see me and I'm not peeking over the top of it. Alright, so that's better. So in the last video I pulled 21 pounds. Basically we had the full brass complements on both axles with the 2.2 wheels on there with the wheel weights, those Super Swamper 5.4 inch tires, and we were running that stock VXL on 3S with that 21 turn Titan motor. Obviously we had it low, both diffs locked, but this update, we've got all new electronics. And I built, obviously you guys saw right there, a front weight box. You see a lot of pulling trucks, pulling tractors usually have some sort of ballast up front, keeps the front end down. And I also built a rear hitch system, a little bit better than just wrapping some paracord around the rear bumper. And I can flip it to lower it, and I can put some spacers in there to raise it if I needed to, kind of depending if I want it to pull down more, pull more straight, whatever I think needs to happen with that. So for the electronics updates, I put a Mamba X in there. It's a 6S cable ESC. I think it's going to be strong enough for this. I also put a Polar Pro L, which is their 550 can motor, 2100 kV. I've got that motor in my Rift. It runs great. I run on 3S in my Rift. It's capable of 4S, and that's what we're running in this. I've got an XT90 battery connector on that Mamba X. That connector can handle a little bit higher current draw. I think the 90 comes from, it can handle 90 continuous amps through it. Another reason I went with Castle, I really like Castle. They've been reliable for me. The Mamba X is a great ESC, and I already have their little USB plug-in, so you can actually do your data logs and stuff. I'm curious to see what kind of amp draws we're hitting. If we're getting close, then I may have to audible, put that Mamba X on the shelf for something else, and then move to a Mamba Monster X, which is just a beefier 6S ESC. So they're a really capable ESC. They can handle quite a bit of power, quite a bit of demand. We're going to be obviously pulling, which is that initial startup, which is one of the most demanding times on an ESC. So I already mentioned the motor, which is that Polar Pro L or long. It's a 550 can. Like I said, it's 2100 kV. So kind of right in there where I wanted to be. I wish he made like an 1800 or 1500. I don't need as much wheel speed as we're going to get, but I really wanted the power, and I wanted 4S partially because I want to be able to run giant battery in there, and I also want to be able to have the wheel speed if needed. So we're running the stock spur gear, but I switched it out for a metal spur gear. I just don't want my weak link to be inside the transmission or at the pinion spur. So I'm also running a hardened steel Robinson Racing 11 tooth. That's the smallest you can get on that motor. It's got a 5mm motor shaft, so can't go down to a 9 or a 10. So in order to get my gear ratios a little bit better, I ran underdrive in the front and the rear. And those underdrive gear sets are just from Traxxas. They do charge you pretty hefty for them. They're about 40 bucks a piece. So they're definitely pretty proud of those. Overall, I think it's going to be pretty good. I think it's definitely going to be an improvement. You can tell the ESC motor in the last one at that 21 pounds, really like getting really bound up, really loaded up, and then it wanted to unload and spin the tires. So I think having the ballast up front, keeping the front wheels down, and be able to pull it and take advantage of four-wheel drive versus doing a wheelie and trying to pull it with basically two-wheel drive is going to be huge. I don't know if that rear hitch that I set up is going to be an advantage or not, but the nice thing is a little bit beefier, a little sturdier. It's tied into the factory mounting points for the bumper and an additional 2 screws on the frame rails that I drilled out. The front weight box is just something I drew up real quick in Fusion 360, printed it in PETG. just in case this is sitting out in the sun, gets a little warm, going to events, especially like come summertime, springtime here in Georgia. The temperatures can skyrocket pretty quickly, so I just didn't want it to melt. So inside that weight box, you're probably wondering, what did I put in there for weight? I kind of was walking around some of the bigger box stores. I walked around Home Depot, some different hardware stores, and just trying to figure out what's the best bargain per pound. Something that I can put in there, kind of make it a little somewhat modular and adjust my weight. And I landed on this. So there's 6,000 BBs in there. This full thing weighs almost 5 pounds. And I'll show you guys here. You can actually see I have a 3-compartment system. And for this first run with the ballast, I'm only going to run 2. I don't want to run more weight than needed in the front. Because I think that if anything, I'm going to need to build some sort of weight system for the rear. I can't add more. I can add about another pound or so to the front. But if I don't need to, just a little bit less strain on the truck and just get it dialed before we really just start putting the weight on it. So additionally, in order to steer, because I would like to actually be able to drive this to the start line and not have to place it up there, just a personal goal. I wanted to be able to turn without the front unloading with all that weight up front. I still want to be able to maneuver, get to the starting line. It was just a goal of mine in the beginning, and it gave me an excuse to try out a new brand. So I'm actually running a Three Brothers RC G13 Pro, almost 800 ounce inches, I believe, on 4S. It's a 5S capable system, which I don't know of any 5S batteries, but the nice thing about that is you have a little bit of headroom. Like, you know, you're not pushing the absolute limit of that servo running it on 4S. We'll see. Time will tell, see if it holds up, but if it can hold up to this, I think it can pretty much hold up to anything because there's a lot of weight sitting on the front of this. Didn't do much trimming on the front bumper as far as clearance for those giant tires. With all that weight, the springs are basically slammed right now, and it's really hard to turn. You don't get much clearance. So I may actually try to trim the bumper up before I don't want to trim the body. I may take off those fender flares if I can, just to give myself a little bit more. I'd like to be able to put this truck back to fairly normal with minimal additional purchases. I also think it's worth mentioning that I still am running the stock drive shafts on this. We will see if those are the weak point. Traxxas drive shafts are known to be pretty darn tough. I have incision metal drive shafts on standby, quick swap, but I actually wouldn't mind if those are the weak point, because I could easily have spares, swap those in. I could probably even do that during a competition, in between runs. So before you guys watch the actual test, let me know, do you think those stock drive shafts are going to hold up to that big brushless power, the 16 pounds of the truck, and just asking them to do a lot more than they're ever intended to do? I'm curious to see if you guys think the drive shafts are going to make it or not, or if I'm going to twist them like a pretzel. And I guess you guys can consider this a TRX-4 drive shaft torture test, because we're about to find out. Anyways, enough talking. Let's go outside, let's test it. In that last test run, we did 21 pounds. I'm curious to see where we're going to be at. I feel like we're going to be in the 30s. I'd like to hit 40. That's kind of a big ask to try to double it with just electronics, but I definitely think that's where we were weak. So let's go outside, we'll run it, we'll see how it does, and then we'll come back, sum it up, and see if there's any plan of action to move forward. Let's go. All right, guys, we're out here in the garage. We got pretty much the exact same setup we've had for the past couple of videos. I did change the lead. I put some 260-pound rated carabiners on them instead of the little S-beaners. They just didn't really trust those for this. So other than that, using 550 paracord should be plenty strong for this. I don't expect to be pulling that kind of weight. We're going to start the sled in the garage, put my truck outside on the concrete pad. Same setup we've had, just for consistency's sake. I did weigh this sled just out of curiosity, and it weighs 16 pounds, but we're not going to add that to any of our totals because we didn't in the past. Yeah, let's get the truck hooked up and let's see what it can do. Okay, guys, so we're going to start with the 21 pounds. We pretty much pulled successfully on the last one. You can see the weight box I got up front. The truck weighs about 16 pounds with the battery in it right now, so let's see what it's got. Easy. All right, we got 26 pounds. Nothing's changed. Pulled 21 real easy, so easy as well. Let's put a little more weight on it. All right, we added a 5 pound. That's 8. Those are 5s. That's 8. 31 pounds total. Here goes nothing. I'm gonna have to start switching these out for kettlebells. So we have the same dumbbells on there. It's 26 pounds in dumbbells, and then 10 pound instead of that 5 pound kettlebell. So same setup. Start the other camera. Here we go. She pulled it, but I don't think I'd be able to pull anymore. I won't be able to make small enough increments. So 36 pounds. I was really hoping we'd get 40, but I just don't think it's got 40 in it. I might need to add a little more weight to it, but let's head back to the bench and we'll wrap this up. All right, guys, what do you think? Did it do better or worse than what you thought? We're kind of about the same. So we hit 36 pounds, basically right where I wanted to be. I would have loved to hit 40, but we were starting to get a lot of wheel spin going on. I really just didn't want that hopping action to break something at this point. If I can avoid braking while testing, it'd be kind of nice. My final test run before I really do shelf it, call it good before any competition, I probably will give it the beans, see what happens, see what's going to let loose, figure out a way if I can beef it up, fix it, and then it'll get shelved. When you're talking about a big, powerful brushless system like this, pretty strong ESC, very strong servo, and obviously a truck that's starting to near that 20-pound mark, you could probably pretty much always break something. You would basically need to fully redesign the truck in order to make it as beefy as possible and as bulletproof as possible, but that wasn't my intention on this. My intention was to have a pretty stock looking Bronco. Obviously the ballast takes away from that quite a bit, but as I was saying, I think traction is really just starting to become the limiting factor again. We started putting more power so it can spin the tires easier, and on the front end I have a pretty easy fix for that. I can open up that box. That'd probably allow me to add about a pound to a pound and a quarter, and that would probably be very beneficial, especially where that sits. That's a lot of leverage on the chassis and provides a lot of traction on those tires. On the rear end, I may need to get in there, take some measurements, draw something up in Fusion, and print out another ballast box. So I'm probably looking to try to add maybe 2 pounds, possibly 3 in the rear, just to get that back kind of sucked down a little bit more. So that's the game plan. I definitely know I have until March before the first confirmed competition. Not sure when in March, but we got some time. Not too worried about getting it done. I'd be comfortable entering it into a competition right now. I know the one I was at previously, they were talking about doing 2 separate classes, a 2-axle and anything more than 2 axles, so 3, 4, 5 axles. As crazy as you want to get, kind of an unlimited class. And that's one reason I went with this. A, I already had the truck. B, I wanted to be on that 2-axle side to really see if I could push the envelope. So for the next step, obviously we're going to do ballast in the front, look at doing some ballast in the rear, possibly doing a hitch flip in order to get a little bit more downward pull on that rear. And then, depending on what time I get that done, I will either do one final test. If it goes well, I'll basically just do my torture test that day. Just give it a little blip of full throttle, see if it can take it, see if anything breaks, and then order the spares and get it fixed. Or, if we're really pushing the timeline, I'll just go ahead and order stuff that I think will break, and we'll have it on standby, and I'll do it kind of last minute. So that's a game plan. Might be a while before you guys see an update. This is kind of a backburnered project, not the most popular, but it's been fun, honestly. Looking forward to getting the next test in. Really want to get that 40-pound pull and ultimately win the pulling competitions that it gets entered in. So, and that's why I'm doing it. I'm a competitive person, sat on the sidelines for the one that I watched, didn't really have a truck that would have competed. Next time I go, I want to at least be on the podium. That's the goal, but I would really like to just come in and take the crown. But anyways, guys, stay tuned for updates on this project. Like I said, could be a little bit, but I always got content rolling out. I've got ideas in the hopper. I've got some stuff half built. I've got stuff being planned. And yeah, this RC addiction's not quitting anytime soon. And it's been fun. YouTube has made it really fun. Your guys' comments, your likes, your views, It's kind of crazy. I have just a small channel, 200 something subscribers, but it's pretty cool to see when you get 70 hours of watch time in one day. That's insane, honestly, to me. When I first started, I remember thinking, oh man, I had 20 minutes of watch time today. And that's only been 2 months basically. So a lot of growth, really excited. And you guys are motivating me to stay up late, do the editing sessions, get my notes together, try to have a good plan to produce better videos, and ultimately spend money on stuff at the studio, new camera, lighting, things like that. Try to make better videos because I know I don't like watching low quality videos, and I know you guys don't either. So if there's anything I can do to improve, let me know. See if we can work it into the budget and continue to make this thing better because ultimately it's for you all. It's definitely entertaining for me too, but I just can't get enough of YouTube RC content, and I just wanted to contribute to that and kind of pay it forward. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think of Project Clydesdale. Comment down below what you would do next to take it to that next level, hit that 40-pound mark. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps a bunch. Like I said, it motivates me. And go check out my Instagram. Not super active on there, but I do like to post some teasers from time to time. And additionally, I do have a podcast, Crazy for KV's podcast. You can find it on Spotify. You can also find it on Anchor FM. That's anchor.fm. And there's 2 episodes out right now. And there's a spoiler at the end of episode 2 that I have not mentioned on this channel yet. And I don't think I will. It'll just show up one day. So only got a couple of listens on there. That's okay. But yeah, I just talk about things that don't quite meet the video threshold, or obviously aren't videos yet because I may not have it. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.